And a very warm welcome to a wonderful occasion when we're going to be celebrating the fantastic achievements of our graduands sitting here before me, and many of them are right behind us. It's wonderful to see them. And for the families and the supporters in particular, what a great day for all of you. A chance to reflect on all of the hard work, the sacrifices, the enjoyment of actually getting to this point, and then thereafter what you're going to do. So you're in the Barony Hall. The university is well through a £1 billion investment in the campus. But this is one of the jewels in the crown. It's where we have these celebrations. We do lots in here, the gala events. You'll still probably feel the quivering from the examination session here as well, because we do occasionally host examinations in here as well. But it's an appropriately fitting place to have this celebration. And boy, have we been waiting a long time for this. The past 2 years have been very challenging for our students, very challenging for the families as well, and for the institution that I lead. I'm very proud to say we're showing the resilience and the flexibility and the agility to help you get over the line. So we'll always have a great occasion, but occasionally these events are expanded upon, they're elaborated by us celebrating the professional achievements of highly influential individuals. Today is one of those days when we have the joy of awarding an honorary degree to Janice Kirkpatrick, about whom you'll hear a little bit more shortly from Kevin Kane. It's a delight to have her enrolled into the Strathclyde family, and it'll be a great start to the event when you see what this highly accomplished individual has done and take some inspiration for it. So very shortly I'll formally open the event. You'll array yourselves and come up here onto the stage. To the families, polite applause, of course, is always welcome, but you can let your hair down today as well. You're here to let these terrific people know that you're here, so don't feel inhibited. It's a rather grand place, but very much Strathclyde does the formal informally, so please make sure you enjoy that. As you come along here, there are two aspects for this bit of furniture. It's given me a degree of social distancing from our graduands, about 1 metre. But this kneeler is something that's been in Strathclyde for probably 60 or 70 years. And the way that we used to do it, people would come on and they'd actually kneel down in front of me as Vice-Chancellor or the Chancellor. Our Chancellor these days is Lord Robert Smith. That doesn't feel quite as inclusive as it needs to be. So it's here for a number of reasons. I've knelt on this 3 times. For my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and my PhD, so I've got a degree of emotional attachment to it. But for goodness sake, don't kneel on it, because I think it will collapse, given its ancient shape. But with that, colleagues, graduates, or graduands, I should say, you'll be graduates in about 40 minutes' time. I formally declare this congregation open. Please enjoy the ceremony, and I'll now invite Kevin Kane to introduce our honorary graduate. Thank you very much.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you Professor Janice Kirkpatrick, OBE, FRSE. Janice Kirkpatrick is a graphic designer and a director of Graven, the Glasgow-based international design studio. At Doonhamer, Janice attended Dumfries Academy, where her mother had been Dux, and then the Glasgow School of Art, where she won the prestigious Newbery Medal for the best student across all schools. From the Glasgow School of Art, she won a Royal Society of Arts scholarship to study animation in Los Angeles and at the BBC in London. And while a postgraduate student, she founded Graven with her architect husband, Ross Hunter. From that early entrepreneurial beginning, Graven has established itself as an international design studio, having worked in over 40 countries and across a wide range of projects and sectors, from interiors and brands to exhibitions. Under Janice's leadership, Graven has worked on projects as diverse as food and drink, for example, Highland Park in Orkney, hospitality, from the Kimpton Blythewood Square Hotel here in Glasgow to Radisson Blu Hotels in Philadelphia and Chicago, to workplace design for British Airways, ARM, NatWest, as well as for the software company Autorec in the Garment Factory and Glasgow Life's offices in the High Street, the latter two located in the University of Strathclyde-led Glasgow City Innovation District. Graven was also part of the creative design team for BBC Scotland's award-winning Pacific Quay HQ. Since founding Engraving, Janice has been an ardent and public advocate of the power of design and its ability to transform products and places. A driving force behind Glasgow's successful bid to host UK City of Architecture and Design in 1999, she went on to be chair of the Lighthouse, Scotland's Centre for Architecture and Design, which was Europe's largest, housed in the refurbished former Glasgow Herald offices, designed by another celebrated Glasgow designer, Charles Rennie Mackintosh. For over 20 years, she has advised successive UK and Scottish governments on the economic potential of design via her memberships of both the UK and Scottish creative industries leadership groups, as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, and as a visiting professor at the Glasgow School of Art, and later a governor and then vice chair. She was also a Conran Foundation archive collector and a trustee of NESTA, the National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts, and chaired its £20 million investment and innovation seed fund. In 1993, she was awarded an OBE for services to design and a visiting professorship at the Glasgow School of Art. In 2018, Janice was appointed to the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board as lead for the creative economy, and in 2021, she was appointed as Senior Enterprise Fellow for the Technology and Innovation Centre here at the University of Strathclyde. And only last month, she became a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, Scotland's National Academy since 1783. Janice is also a curator, writer, lecturer and broadcaster, having written and presented, among other things, Designing Our Lives, a BBC Two 6-part Millennium Landmark series, and Clydesdale, but more on that later. As a designer and advocate for creative economics, Janice has an honest, down-to-earth curiosity about the world and the drive and passion to make things happen. Janice has described herself as a big kid who loves design. She has a known fondness for performance motorcycles, including having owned a limited edition Ducati 916 Mark II Senna, but she has a lifelong passion for horses, most especially the Clydesdale, a horse that was engineered, designed, here in Scotland over a period of 150 years to power the industrial and agricultural revolutions. Her passion for Clydesdales, their heritage, history, and especially their genetic future, led her to develop and co-executive produce Clydesdale, Saving the Greatest Horse, a feature-length documentary co-production of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and BBC Scotland, which premiered in December 2020, and in 2021 won the prestigious Golden Sheaf Award at Canada's Yorktown Film Festival. Clydesdale traces the history of the breed, born, bred and perfected in the Clyde Valley in the 1800s, to the Duke of Hamilton's legendary Meryton dispersal sale in 1884, and the subsequent sale of the stallion Baron of Buccleuch that saw the highest price ever achieved for a Clydesdale, over £1 million in today's prices, and her personal search for those old bloodlines in the Canarian prairies, and to the final return of pure black genetics to the UK and to her great western herd at her farm in Ayrshire. In all of her work, design, advocacy, broadcasting, curation and education, Janice brings her deep knowledge and experience, her passion and a Doonhamer down-to-earthness, as well as an indefatigability that was born and bred in Dumfriesshire. Janice Kirkpatrick, a true contemporary Scottish lacer Pearce. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Janice Kirkpatrick the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Janice, I create you Doctor of the University, honoris causa. We're absolutely delighted to have you join the Strathclyde family because of your outstanding personal and professional achievements. Very well done, and we confer the degree upon you. Thank you very much.
gosh, I've never been created before. not that I'm aware of. Oh, gosh. Thank you, Kevin, for your very kind words, and thank you, Sir Jim, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, and your wonderful team here at the University of Strathclyde for conferring this honour on me, and for inviting me to share this day with all of you, and to share my thoughts about graduation, education, and life. It's a very great privilege to become an honorary graduate of the University of Strathclyde, and to share this day with all of you who are also graduating, and with those that have helped make today possible and memorable, your families, your friends, academics, and professional colleagues. We are all alumni of this old and distinguished place of useful learning, with its deep roots going all the way back to the 1700s. It's 38 years since I first graduated from another, even older institution, the Glasgow School of Art. And like many of you here, I found coming out of the other end of my degree course exhausting, a little bit frightening, but also liberating. And looking back, I was as ready as ever I could have been when I was unleashed from my campus on Garnet Hill. Not that it felt like that at the time. Like some of you, I was the first person in my family to benefit from the advantages of a higher education. But while I approached it as a great adventure, it was threatening and uncharted territory for my mum and dad. They had lived through the Second World War and quite literally fought so that I could be educated. For them, education was the only means of levelling up, and it remains so today for many people. Because of folk who believed in education, like my parents, I could have chosen to study geography or biology or politics. However, my brilliant art teacher, Kate Thompson, intervened and told me in absolute terms that I could forget about all of that because I was going to the Glasgow School of Art. I was quite simply relieved that someone had just made the decision for me. I'm now old enough to know how right that decision was. And I understand how privileged I am to have lived in a golden age of education, and at a time and in a place that valued humanities and the sciences. I was very fortunate to have an excellent state grammar education, where I studied sciences, languages, art. I sang in choirs, I played in orchestras. I had a teacher who recognised my potential and who helped me make the right decision about what to study. But it was really hard for my parents to know how to help me. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't even know how to behave. I was leading them into unknown territory, and it really made them worry. While still at school, my father would drive me to and from evening classes. These were in life drawing, and they were run by a retired psychiatrist. And while my father believed in education and he trusted professional people completely, he doggedly refused to look at my work. He just didn't know what to do with it, how to deal with it, or how to deal with me. And while my parents took, I think, a very Scottish, unspoken pride in my abilities, they harboured terrors about things that happened in universities, and in art schools in particular. And these feelings were occasionally, and actually quite ferocious. Sometimes they would explode, that you're not going to the art school if you're going to do stuff like that, while watching a documentary on Picasso. And it still haunts me, and is the reason I continue to promote the understanding of creativity and the huge contribution that creative professionals, designers, and architects make to our economy, not just our culture. In addition to teaching me to see, to analyse, to understand, and to control much of my life, and in my professional life to control the behaviours of others through creating brands and environments in retail, hospitality, and workplace businesses, education has given me many of the things I value most: the ability to be a productive member of society and to be economically productive, to take pleasure in and responsibility for making businesses better, and sometimes even making something good from nothing more than my grey matter, which is the foundation of all wealth creation and every form of civilization. Education has given me confidence in my abilities. It helps me know my strengths, my weaknesses, and my limits. and it allows me to make the most of what I have through hard work, tenacity, and endless curiosity. Education has also taught me to respect other people and their perspectives, to collaborate and to work as part of a team. For in this complex, fractious, and fragmented world, without cross-disciplinary teams, tolerance, and good manners, we can achieve very little, and even less that will endure. Education also gave me the optimism and courage to knock on strange new doors that would open to reveal new knowledge, new ways of working. It made me brave and able to challenge orthodoxies, and it continues to drive me to find new challenges that test and stretch me and my colleagues and my clients, who are increasingly my collaborators. Education has given me limitless resources that sit at the centre of my life. They cannot be taken from me. Education has also given me the unshakable belief that my life is worthwhile and that I, like you, can make a difference. And by God, we must. When I finally left formal education as a postgraduate from my MA course, I had co-founded my business, met my future husband, and forged lifelong friendships and invaluable networks. All of these have led me to be here in this place with you today. Education is powerful. At its best, it's transformational and it's magical. For me, today's ceremony is as much an acknowledgement of all the informal support we've received from our network of friends and families as it is a formal celebration that marks what we and our tutors have achieved within these brilliant halls of academe. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the closer you get to graduating and to realising your goals, the less important these goals become, because your horizons will have subtly changed. That's when you know that you have been educated. It's a mindset and a process that starts and never stops. And you will already have begun to move on to this new stage in your life with all of the daunting and exciting challenges that brings. So, good luck to you all who are graduating today. Be brave, be hopeful, be kind, do good, and work very, very hard. Thank you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Master of Business Administration, Florence Adu. Mohammed Mobin Alam. Jaber Hamid Mohammed Al-Haddad. A.J. Balamurigan. Nicola Bicasio. Prital Sudarshan Bhatt. Donna Catherine Sarah Brawley. Samantha Chatterjee. Nishkal Chaturvedi. Carlos Manuel Cuenca Fernandez del Vizo. Craig Dougal. Rachel Doyle. Neela Draka. Santosh Kiran Kumar Dukha. Juan Gerber. David Glazier. Jajeng Fudiana Hassan. Yan Hong. Tanweer Iqbal. Gary Patrick Jenkins. Yanis Karatolios. Adeg Boyega Abdul Latif Kazim. Cara Kelly. Vinay Kulkarni. Camelia Levinta. Yang Lee. Ivan Mirabella. Ahmed Mahmoud Mohammed. Ashish Moza. Kim Ndungu. Irene Hui Yin Ying. Stephen Omalabi. Robin Oust. Joanna Paget. Subendu Swapankumar Pal. Abdul Samad Patel. Jason Gilbert Price. Shakti Rastogi. Scott McCartney Ritchie. Ashri Dayananda Shetty. Christopher Spicer. Sundaram Subramaniam Meenakshi. Lorna Jane Sutherland. Binu Bashkaran Tharayu. Kevin Timmins. Motaz Murad Wadan. Michael Obina Williams. Azahari Abdul Hamid. Allah Al Ahmed. Ali Alamri. Sama Majid Alaspoor. Abdullah Mohammed Al-Azri. Abdul Wahab Yassin Al-Balushi. Tahir Abbas Mohammed Tahir Al-Dalwi. Fahad Salem Al-Harbi. Ahmed Majid Sultan Al-Hashili. Majid Naji Al-Hazmi. Badr Abdullah Ali. Ahmed Mohammed Al-Meri. Abdulaziz Al-Shamsan. Abdullah Al-Subai. Mohammed Al-Thahaba. Fatima Mahmoud Abdul Hamid Abdali Badr. Tatiana Beveratu. Rashid Mohammed Khamis bin Daina. Ling Ling Cha. David Cho Kim Ong. Sakar Mohammed Abdallah Kasanawa. Sarah Hassan Ali Abdullah Isa Matar. George Nikolopoulos. Babafemi Bode Oloruntoba. Mohammed Said Ahmed Said. Fatima Faik Hussein Reda Shukri. Evangelos Spirou. Kamuda Supaya. Menya Voivoda. Wei Ping Wong. Ayman Yusuf. For the degree of Master of Science in Business and Management, Jade Anthony. Charlotte Ashton. Rahmat Olawatosin Awotorebo. Sahil Chowdhury. Paranita Kaushal. Regili Krauladiti. Katrina May Masgrave. Liam John Nolan. Goran Nath Sahota. Rakesh Roshan Sharavana. Lucy Elizabeth Truton. Vishaka. Jingyang Wang. In International Management, Athbe AFMH Alhendo. Wan Nur Mazdiana Binti Wan Abaziz. Vishnu Vinith Chagi Raghavendra Sethi. Matthias Johannes Kapfer. Daksha Sharma. Finn Tiedemann. In Project Management and Innovation, Ryan James Flett. Eve Alexandra McWilliams. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Hospitality and Tourism Management, Alhala Salah M.E. Al-Kulaifi. In Hospitality and Tourism Management and Business Enterprise, Ross Patterson. In Hospitality and Tourism Management and Finance, Erin Catherine Coyle. In Hospitality and Tourism Management and Human Resource Management, Jennifer Goodwin. Georgina Fiona Service Robinson. In Hospitality and Tourism Management and Management, Ekaterina Kazakova. In Hospitality and Tourism Management and Marketing, Cameron James McKendrick. Jia E. Lee. In Human Resource Management, Evie Kate Gardiner. Marvin Rowan. Jennifer Isabel Lena Brett. Shannon Clark. Jia Ming Lin. Loic Lombotto. Robbie Davidson Fernie McDermott. Lindsay Jane McMath. Eve Sorsha Richmond. Finn Rogers. Anna Elizabeth Friel Stevenson. Rachel Margaret Stewart. Thomas Beach. Alicia Nazir. Shenqi Zhang. In Human Resource Management and Business Analysis and Technology, Connor James Simpson. In Human Resource Management and Business Enterprise, Hadija Shah. In Human Resource Management and Business Law, Saad Niaz. In Human Resource Management and Economics, Xinyu Wang. In Human Resource Management and Finance, Rachel Catherine Moncrief. Bethany Gillis. In Human Resource Management and Hospitality and Tourism Management, Lucy Gill. Jishan Manio Isip. Megan Kathleen Robb. In Human Resource Management and Management, Carly Brown. Bethan Priest Msukeri. Katie Louise Raffin. Bethany Ann Rowe. Meka Sabu. Ailey Margaret Thomas. In Human Resource Management and Marketing, Katrina Helen Lyle. Elise Percival. Rachel Holton. Olivia McTiernan. Abby Roberts. In Human Resource Management and Psychology, Jane Amanda Connell. In Management, Zainab Waniza Ashik. Kirsty Eisner. Sarah Matheson. Barry McFarlane. Aya Kitinkaya. Sun Ho Chung. Jia Jan Ding. Rebecca Harvey. Alia Janahi. Zin Lee. Jia Meng Lu. Paul Michael Nash. Claudia Pluta. Wei Yang Zhang. Zhao Rong Chen. Xin Wan Shu. Han Wu. In Management and Finance, Joy Amifor. Daisy Hunter. In Management and Hospitality and Tourism Management, Erin Jordan Edwards. In Management and Human Resource Management, Kira Young Wong. In Management and Marketing, Katie Grace Stewart.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give this class of 2022 a big round of applause. So, once again, graduates of Strathclyde University, as you are now, ladies and gentlemen, those that are here to support everyone in the room, let me reiterate our very warm welcome to this wonderful ceremony. It's a day that none of you will forget, and nor should you. It marks the successful conclusion of years of hard work, and now you've graduated in front of your proud families, your friends, your supporters, and of course the Strathclyde staff. And today we've welcomed from people from all over Scotland, from across the UK, and of course from a wonderful international community. And we're absolutely delighted to have you all here to join in the celebrations with us. Strathclyde is an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We're a place that seeks to be both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds can come together here at Strathclyde to enjoy excellent education and a shared student experience. At Strathclyde, we benefit from having staff and students from almost 120 countries. Ours is a socially progressive community, one that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society, because we're plural, we're multicultural, and we seek to be enlightened. And I'll say more about that in a minute. It's our responsibility. Graduates, it's your responsibility to now continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power. And boy, we've had plenty to challenge over the past couple of years by using reason and exemplifying the best features of modern society. And here, I can hardly believe it, we're facing war in Europe again. It's your generation that need to challenge my generation to be socially progressive, get on the front foot and use your professional and personal powers, your mission, your vision and your values to make a difference. But of course, most importantly, we're here today to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up and the successful completion of your degree course. This is now your passport to make a full contribution through your careers and to society in spite of the flux that we're currently facing. And today, as I mentioned earlier, we're now in the midst of our latest formal session of graduations, which we've not been able to do for the past 2 years. I'm delighted to say that we had our catch-up graduations in March, where over the course of the pandemic, there were around 8,500 students that couldn't enjoy what you have enjoyed today. But still, we had the majority of them back here, about 4,000 of them back through March, to get that formal recognition and joy of becoming a Strathclyde graduate. But the pandemic, of course, has challenged our health systems. It's impacted our economies, and of course, it's also challenged the way in which we work and study. And whilst it's been a hard lesson, there's much we can take out of that. As we look over our shoulder in the years to come, I think we'll see COVID-19, a most unwelcome experience, will have been an accelerator for digital transformation in society. And it will, I think, also be an accelerator to achieve net zero. But it's also demonstrated what we can, what you can achieve when we work together through collaboration and bringing our skills, this multidisciplinary approach that Janice talked about. And it's placed, of course, and I'm an engineer, which feels like a bit of a confession in this audience, but it's placed science and engineering and, of course, business acumen at the forefront of finding the solutions to the challenges that we face. And it was science, universities and innovative industry that delivered vaccines for the COVID-19 virus in record time. Going from a 10-year regulatory approval process to just north of a year. Incredible. And it will still be science, engineering and business and education that Janice spoke so eloquently about that we hope has addressed other pressing issues such as climate change. You'll remember it's only 7 months or so since Glasgow had the honour of hosting COP26. And what a fantastic way to have put Glasgow on the international stage where the world came here to discuss the existential challenge for the 21st century, climate change and global warming. And as a university ourselves, we seek to be exemplars as we drive towards net zero and reducing our own carbon emissions in the next 2 years by another 70%. I also saw some great leaders coming here, not just to the city, but Strathclyde was in the heart of many of those discussions. I had the privilege of meeting John Kerry, Biden's special presidential envoy for climate, who was a very significant statesman throughout the process of COP26. We had Alok Sharma, who is still currently the president of COP. That will be handed over in Egypt later this year, was on campus here, and he led the opening of the Conference of Youth the week before COP, where we had hundreds of young, ambitious, challenging young people on our campus laying out an agenda for my generation to deal with the challenges that industry and questionable policy making has brought here over the past 50 years. I also had coffee with Michael Bloomberg, a fellow electrical engineer, as it happens. I think he studied electrical engineering for 18 months and then decided to be a billionaire. Went to Harvard, and the rest is history. But he came here and saw what we were doing in the city and took some inspiration from it. But the highlight for us and for many of our staff and students was the privilege of hosting ex-President Barack Obama here at Strathclyde. And this is the place he came to engage with young people, with activists, with those that were taking their learning and putting it to useful learning, which I'll talk about. Of course, we had to be very careful about security, so we couldn't advertise the fact, but social media doesn't know any privacy. So he was here for about 4 hours, and by the time that he left here, there was a group of about 600 folk to say goodbye to him from the campus in our learning and teaching building. And he turned as he left, and he was the most gracious, pleasant individual to spend time with. He turned around and shouted 2 words to those that sought to see him away from the campus, and it was this: get active. And I'll say that to all of you Strathclyde graduates. Get active. Whether it's in your careers, in the work that you do through your personal interests, your hobbies, the way you engage with society, the way that you do things that make a difference. This challenging and exciting and occasionally terrifying journey that Janice reflected on when she was at your stage. But get active, be confident, take the energy and the learning that you've built up here at Strathclyde and get out there and make a difference. And I was brought up here in Glasgow in a sunny hamlet called Govan, just on the other side of the Clyde. And Govan's motto is nihil sine labore, or nothing without hard work. So you're smart, you're accomplished, you're ambitious, you're Strathclyders now, but don't forget, apply yourself consistently. make that commitment, go the extra mile, and you will reap the benefits. And the companies you work with, the companies that you create, the communities that you're embedded in, they will benefit from that energy and that hard work. So you become Strathclyders today, and you've joined this latest band of our torchbearers, just like the many generations of graduates that have gone before you. And now everything you've come through and successfully done so, I'm sure you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the backing and the encouragement of the community of supporters around you. Like many of you, I was also the first in my family to go to university. My father and my two brothers worked in Fairfield shipyards, so they were keen. They weren't as keen as my mother, right enough for me to kick on and get into university. And I owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. So in that same spirit, graduates and university staff, please join me in thanking these wonderful family members, the friends and supporters, for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you. And be in no doubt that it's a very important day for the institution, because for all of our academics and our support staff, your success is ultimately their reward. We've worked hard to provide you with high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, graduates, families, please join me in saying a big thank you to the university staff. Thank you. So just before we move to the conclusion of the ceremony, I want you to bear some things in mind as you leave about your own institution. Strathclyde is 226 years old this year. However, I still like to lead this fantastic place in the same spirit as a startup, with an entrepreneurial spirit of challenge, ambition and opportunity. And throughout our long history, Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. And we were established for the benefit of all humankind. And that useful learning motto is important. We were the only higher education institution to be established during the Scottish Enlightenment. That's a very distinct character of this place, where universities became connected to society. There was challenge. There was a pushing of the establishment, as it were, to think differently and do things in a new way. And we're still driving ourselves forward into the 21st century in that same spirit. Our founder was a natural philosopher, or we would call him a physicist these days, John Anderson. He had very strong links with Benjamin Franklin that you'll have heard of. Franklin was an American inventor and academic. He was one of the people that set up the University of Pennsylvania in 1751 under the motto of useful knowledge. And with Anderson actually accompanied Franklin any time he was in Scotland, including when he came here and then went over to St Andrews University for an honorary degree. But what was going on in Europe, the Enlightenment, people like von Humboldt and Franklin, our founder had this notion of useful learning. And that motto, of course, is beyond just words. It's about what we do and how we do it. And it's never been more important in the 200 years of our existence. And it's known by all of our staff and students. And please recall that. Useful learning is meaningful. And it still defines how we are committed as a leading international technological university that's socially progressive. So, for example, across our campus and the buildings that you'll have passed today on the way to the Barony Hall, our academics and our students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight diseases. For example, we have several drugs now out in clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory diseases. Strathclyders are producing low-carbon energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change. We are revolutionising global manufacturing through what's called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0, using robotics, AI, automation, data analytics. Our students are working away in Africa, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure. And we're bringing prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need across the globe. And we're also working to inform public policy. Our politicians have a hard task. We hold them to account regularly, as we should, but they need evidence, they need support, they need independent challenge from places like ours to look at national economic strategy, which the Strathclyde Business School is in the heart of, as well as on education, health, energy and innovation strategies. Our staff in the Technology and Innovation Centre or the TIC building, just down in George Street. £100 million investment working on photonics, energy, pharmaceuticals. Another American, Thomas Edison, that many of you will have heard of, he called his technical teams in his laboratories his inventions factory. Well, TIC has become ours in Glasgow's innovations factory, and we've now reinforced that. Kevin mentioned the Glasgow City Innovation District, Scotland's first innovation district, now triggering a whole wave of that engagement between academia, business and the public sector. And we're now, subject to our court's approval the rest of this year, looking to invest up to another £150 million in a new facility that deals with medtech, fintech, quantum technology, industrial informatics, 5 and 6G communications and space technology, with your business school right in the throes of that in terms of translation into business opportunity, enterprise and investment. And many of our alumni have come on this journey with us. Just last year, we were approached by Dr. Charles Wang, a double graduate from the business school in the mid-90s. Charles got an MBA and a PhD from Strathclyde, went to the Far East into investment houses, and then became an entrepreneur and venture capitalist himself, an entity called Pasaka Capital based in California. And Charles called me up and said he wanted to give back. And he wanted to give back £50 million to Strathclyde to help us drive forward innovation and enterprise. Now, you've probably never heard of Charles, but you've had benefit from his entrepreneurial activity, because over the past 2.5 years, the lateral flow tests that you've been using, many of them have been manufactured and distributed and developed by Charles and his company. And he's now in the process of setting up a £1 billion philanthropic fund. And he started in 2 places. His first university, ironically, was Wuhan. And we helped them receive £50 million from Charles to deal with epidemiology and vaccine development. And with us, he wants us to build on that business school excellence that he had the benefit of. And we're also very much advanced now in the next innovation district out at Glasgow Airport. Now that we're all mobile again, as you're flying in and out of Glasgow Airport, if you look to the east side of the runway, you'll see 2 new big buildings. We often see Westway and Babcock in the buildings that you're going out. You'll see a big building with a serrated roof. That's the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland. £100 million investment that we will run on behalf of the National Endeavour for Manufacturing, and adjacent to it is the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre. Another £70 million investment with GSK and AstraZeneca, reshoring and building up Scotland's manufacturing capability again. So that's useful learning in action. And it's all about working with business and industry, that this business school knows so well, and helping us all create jobs, opportunities, and a better quality of life that's both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, Janice's key message is the power of education. And education is there to transform your lives and the lives of your families and your communities that you engage with. And that's why we have had a lot of well-received external recognition. In recent years, we've become the only university to have won the UK University of the Year award twice, with the Business School of the Year award, Sunday Times named the Scottish University of the Year, and the Higher Education Workplace of the Year, which appealed to me because that wasn't just what we were doing, but how we were doing it, driven by strong values. So we tried to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to having a disproportionate impact. Principally, graduates, and you are our principal impact in society. Your leadership, your learning, your ambition. Of course, that's underpinned by great academic endeavour, great research. And we put back in between £2 and £3 billion worth of value back into the Scottish economy on an annual basis. Scottish Government should see this sector as an investment. You know, they put about £1.2 billion into higher education sector, which is well received, and we give them a 10 times multiple back on economic impact. And certainly, and I could go on at length about the business school's achievements, but under Professor David Hillier's leadership, this business school is going from strength to strength. So let me move to a conclusion. With all of that context, be aware that you're now graduates of a university that puts students at the very heart of everything that we do. We value excellence in both education and research, and we seek to create strong engagement with society at large as well as with the business world. And we are international. Like the very best universities, we compete, we contribute, and we collaborate on the international stage. Our partners in the United States are household names, Stanford, MIT, and New York University, with a growing relationship with the University of Southern California, and in Canada it's Waterloo University. In China we work with Peking and Tsinghua universities, the number 1 and the number 2, as well as the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and a whole raft of European institutions, because whilst Brexit has been a disruptor, we're still part of the European continent, and that collaboration and that opportunity that that brings for our students and the research and innovation that we undertake has been key. But all of you, students, now graduates, have benefited from being part of an international university, helping you to emerge with the skills necessary for yourselves, for Scotland and the other parts of the world that you'll go to pursue your careers. And you've been exposed to the richness and the value of different cultures and traditions, and never underestimate that. So you're leaving here understanding your role as global citizens. And with our socially progressive commitment, we have our doors wide open. Strathclyde is one of the UK's leading research-intensive institutions, yet in Scotland, amongst the research intensives, we take the highest number of young people from the most challenged socioeconomic communities in Scotland, the communities that I am proud to belong to. And we had youngsters, about 1,300 of them, join us this year. So we attract them in, we get them in here, we get them graduated, and we launch them. And we didn't quite have the first graduations this year with all of you. 3 weeks ago, we had the Children's University's graduation in here. I've got the privilege of being the Chancellor of the Children's University. It's a charity that gets youngsters aged 5 to 12 typically. And we had 150 of them in here in May, I think it was. But more importantly, with their mothers and fathers in here. Hardly one of them has been across the threshold of a university. And we've told them, this is for you. Have a thirst for education, support your youngsters. And they have learning passports, these young people. They go to the Burrell or they go to the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery, they get a stamp on their digital passport. They go to the Glasgow Science Centre, they get another credit. They go to night classes. Many of them taking their mothers and fathers with them. And when they come up here, their bronze award is a bachelor's degree from the Children's University. Masters they get, and staff, even the 12-year-old PhD students. They're coming to have you educate them in a few years' time. And with these youngsters with their capes and their motorboards, some of them literally skipping across here. One of them ran so fast that I missed them with my capper, I have to say. But their mother and father's cheering, and it does us great service and allows us to have an impact in Glasgow. And we will do that, and as the Dean knows, I particularly enjoyed that ceremony because it's one of the few ceremonies where I get to look tall, but although I have to say there's some tall 12-year-olds as well. But with all of that, let me conclude. If I characterise your place, Strathclyde, in 2022, I would say that we've got a distinctive character, we've got ambition, focus and momentum, and we continue to work with the agility and commitment that's essential to navigate the political and economic uncertainties that we're all facing. It's a great privilege for me to lead this fine institution with the help that I get from my executive team, my academic colleagues, professional services and support staff, and I truly believe our founder, John Anderson, would see what we're doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment, namely useful learning. And to all of you in the Barony Hall today, I'm certain that with all the trials and tribulations that you've faced, and well done to all of you from navigating that, 2022 can truly become a vintage year. You've shown resilience and maturity, and we're really very proud of you. And you're joining a community of almost 200,000 Strathclyders out there in the world. But through all of that, please remember that whatever you do with your degree now, and wherever you pursue your career, truly useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others. Please make a positive impact, not only for yourselves, but for the communities that you belong to. Respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of your institution. And we're all here now to mark the achievements of the awarding of your degrees. On behalf of the university, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to every one of you and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us and let us know how you're getting on. Well done again, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Hope you enjoyed all of that. We do. So we're going to conclude the ceremony, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to process, and we won't be hard to miss because the piper's going to lead us down the centre of the hall. When we get through into the sunshine, we're going to take a right and go to the Learning and Teaching building where there will be refreshments and yes, I think refreshments and something to eat as well. But we're there primarily to get a chance to mingle with you and get to know some of our graduates and their families a little bit better. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to declare the congregation closed. I'll ask you to be upstanding, please. And I'll conclude by saying thank you very much and well done again to our graduates. Thank you very much.